WATD presents John Paul, the Car Doctor. All things automotive. Have questions? Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's John Paul, the Car Doctor.
And good Sunday morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Car Doctor program on award-winning 95.9 WATD, where we have award-winning weather observance by Jesse Wilkins.
Thank you.
Great job, by the way. Predicting the weather and all. Well, it's cold. It's cold in New England. It's going to snow. We're going to get, people make a foot of snow sound like it's a lot of snow. It's not that much snow. Come on, people. We can deal with it. We're in New England. Well, most of us, not me, but, the rest of us are.
I got these big, beefy snow tires now. I'm ready to rip it up out there.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. Well, with us on the phone is Keith Perkins. He's in Oklahoma, where it never snows, right, Keith? It's beautiful weather there.
We get snow sometimes it's once a year, sometimes it's every other year, but this is colossal by typical standards, yeah.
And it's a little chilly there too, right?
Oh yeah, it's like 20 degrees. I was out in my tractor yesterday plowing my drive and down the road, and yeah.
Well, since we've talked about the weather, let's talk about you. Tell us about you. First off, looking at your profile and hearing about you, do you ever sleep?
I hear that. I get that question a lot, actually. You would be surprised that I'm fairly efficient at what I'm capable of doing in periods of time. There are many, many times that I pull some all-nighters, and I'm regularly known to my community that at 2 a.m. you might be able to notice that I'm active on the internet and doing things on my website. And yeah, that's I do function with a lower level of sleep than some people. Yeah.
There you go. Well, tell us first off about your business, and I'll tell you about how I kind of discovered you along the way. You and your wife run the business together, right?
Yeah. So we have three distinct businesses that kind of have different purposes that all intertwine, and I'll make it as short as possible because it's a long menagerie of things. But we essentially have three businesses. We have L1 Automotive Diagnostics and Programming. It's a mouthful. My recommendation, if you're going to make a business name, is make it short. So that is our mobile division that services other collision centers and professional repair shops along the Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Northwest Arkansas area. We've got about 1,700 unique shops that are our clients. And we do things for them that a typical shop would send to the dealer. So any module programming keys, immobilizer stuff, ADAS calibrations, heavy diagnostics. I would say about 40% of the mobile work we do is all diagnostics, where something is radically difficult for a technician that doesn't live in the day-to-day diagnostics world. A lot of network communication faults and such. And then we have a shop of regular brick and mortar, tires, wheels, alignments, brake jobs. We do head gaskets, just every kind of thing you would think of in a regular shop called Level 1 Automotive. That's where our base of operations is out of, and that's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then we've got a training company, L1 Automotive Training, where I develop curriculum based on these thousands of unique cars we see every year, and kind of teach that all over the world at this point. So I've got an online presence where there's some on-demand training available on my website, and then I'm at pretty much every event you can imagine, from SEMA to Auto Expo in Australia. I'm at all of them doing training events there and just putting on classes.
And are some of the classes online too, or are they all in person?
Yeah. We run on-demand video classes on our website. We run with WorldPack and with a bunch of other vendors, AVI, and anyone you can imagine. Automotive seminars, we've got classes with them online. And I'd be remiss if I don't say that, to kind of wrap all that up of how do I sleep at night and all that, is I want to let everyone know I grossly underestimate how much work Liz does. My wife, she runs the shop. She owns the shop. I am a technician there. She owns the mobile company. I'm a backup technician there, and I own the training company.
So she can fire you.
Here's that. Yeah, everyone hears that and they think like, oh, she's my wife, so she has to own part of it. if you come visit the shop or anyone comes to visit the shop, they will immediately recognize that Liz is the day-to-day operations manager. She is the one doing all of that, making decisions, building the schedule, deciding what I come up with. What tooling should we get next? What can I help with when somebody's stuck with something? Or, hey, I'll build a piece of software for our inventory system we developed. But she's running the operations. So that's part of why I'm capable of having all those monikers and really getting it all done.
Now, your business was founded about 8 years ago. Where did you come from before that? What was your background before you started your own business?
So my early backgrounds was actually I went to school for internet network security and cybersecurity, and I worked in that field for a little bit. And then I also went to school to get my bachelor's in criminal justice. I worked in law enforcement for a little bit. But all the while, I never left the automotive industry. I either moonlighted at a shop. I worked at a place that used to rent bays out, and I was just a technical guy. So when a person who was trying to work on their own car would get stuck, insurance said we would work on it for them. But I had to kind of walk them through that stuff. And then I worked in part stores. I managed part stores. And I went to become a tech. Again, I'm a fourth-generation technician. My great-great-grandfather had a shop, and then kind of going down from there. And it skipped a couple generations when it came to the side of my family did that. I actually never worked in the shop with my family. I have two family members on both sides of my family that work in automotive repair shops that are just clients of ours. Never worked with them ever my whole life. Well, I was working in shops since about 2012. And then and then in 2017, I actually got fired. I'm unhireable. At a certain point in your career, you kind of realize that it frustrates you when you see things being done the wrong way. And everyone thinks that they're God's gift to automotive industry and that they know everything. And I was dumb and thought the same thing. But I had some real concerns at the time, and I was let go. And then I kind of just packed up all my diag tools in my Nissan Titan, locked my toolbox up, said, hey, I'll send a tow truck for my toolbox tomorrow. And then I left, and I kind of pulled up to the first shop down the road and thought, all right, do I want to go in here and get a job, or do I want to make a little bit of cash so I can, if this place isn't that great looking, I don't want to work here. Would I rather just go in and ask them if they got any cars they haven't been able to fix, diagnose it for them, make some cash, and move to the next shop and do the same thing until I find a good place to land? And I never found a good place to land, and it was rather successful from day one.
And what do you find is the most challenging thing for other shop owners, besides probably picking up the phone and calling you, which can sometimes be a little bit of an ego issue when you think you can fix everything, but sometimes you can't? Yeah.
So there's two ends of that. The hardest thing in the philosophical form is that most shop owners are not good business people. They were really great technicians and then decided, I'm going to open a shop so I can keep a larger piece of this pie for myself. And then in the car aspect, the hardest thing is that the vast majority of technicians, shop owners, and everyone that I meet in the high 90th percentile of the industry are undertrained and undertooled due to multiple reasons. A lot of them don't even realize that the education and the tooling is available to them. And for the vast majority of it, most businesses in the automotive industry are not centric around creating training as a primary foundation of everything being successful. So they don't make the time to go and learn those things.
Yeah, I can see how that would be an issue. I was fortunate, even when I kind of worked for a living, when I worked at independent shops, one of the ones I worked for always was sending you to training. It was always something that, whether it was, a local training company, whether it was the, GM training center, whatever the case was, you were going there pretty frequently, and they were smart enough, and I think smart enough, to send you during the day on company time where you were sort of, it was your job to learn new things. And I think that was really, really, really important. And like you said, some shops don't realize that there is training available in a variety of different ways. But you mentioned tooling, and here in Massachusetts, we were probably one of the leaders in the right to repair legislation, trying to be able to get information available to everyone. And I don't. At the end of the day, I don't know if we did. There was a memorandum of understanding and all that stuff. Still kind of the bottom line was we want to have the same information available to independent techs as there is to dealerships. And I wanted to reword it and say I want to have the same level of information available to independent techs and dealers that's available to the manufacturers. But I kind of lost that argument. So,
yeah, we all did. There's a lot of information available from a manufacturer that a dealer tech doesn't have access to. As much as I understand that sentiment, I mean, at this point, I'm happy to have just what the dealers have, which is levels the playing field, at least from a dealership to us. There is nothing, with exception of a few couple little cars, and there's a few automakers that are really, really pushing the boundary of what can they get away with without drawing too much attention. That for the vast majority of situations, there is almost nothing that I can't do that a dealership can do, with exception of performing a warranty repair for free.
Right.
And that's kind of, there's some legal stuff in there. There was even, like, I'm heavily involved in right to repair. I actually serve as a treasurer and secretary for NASTF, the National Automotive Service Task Force, and our primary mission and vision is to fill service gaps. And we do that by running this service information request program where if any technician, especially anyone listening today is a technician, that believes that they should have access to something because of the MOU or the actual right to repair legislation or EPA or service information regulations for California or any of those things they're supposed to have, your first line of defense is to go file a service information request with NASTF. So you go to our website, nastf.org, you file the SIR, we get in touch with our liaison with that manufacturer and get that resolved. And to date, of every SIR that's filed, our average percentage of repair fix or of SIR resolution is about 97% in fixing the problem.
And that, do you still run into shops that just don't have any technical information available to them, that for one reason or another they opt not to subscribe to some of the online services, whether it's Mitchell On Demand or whether it's All Data or Motors or something in between all of that? How do you fix a car without knowing the theory and operation of it?
You make a lot of guesses that cost the client money. And, at the end of the day, that flat rate mindset of just change more parts till we fix the car only benefits everyone but the vehicle owner, right? The flat rate tech makes more money because he put more parts on and did more labor. The shop makes more money because they get a piece of the parts and the labor. Everyone makes more money. The only person who loses there is the vehicle owner. And that's the most important person in the situation, is the one who owned the vehicle. So the vast majority of them decide not to get service info. And here's the excuse. The number one excuse I hear: I can't afford it. And then I talk to them about, okay, what, business wise, how are we looking? What is your effective labor rate? We start talking about some KPIs, and they don't have answers. So it's really just what goes back to that, man, you're a great technician. You need to hire a business coach or something, because if you can't afford service information, I don't know how you're fixing cars without just guessing.
Yeah, it continues to amaze me when I hear that, and I always find that interesting because that, as somebody who doesn't work in a shop anymore, I live and die on service data. I need to see it. I need to know how stuff works.
Have to. Absolutely have to. That is of every diag we do, the typical procedure, we got a whole class built around building a diagnostic process. And it's, okay, I need to go confirm the concern. So is this concern exactly what it was explained to me? And then I immediately do a full system scan just to get a baseline of what does it look like with what monitors are set, what codes are there. And then look at some basic data. If it's a drivability problem, look at some, individual data PIDs. And then from there, I got to go back to the service information and plug in my symptoms and understand the theory and operation of the system that has a problem, and start looking at the data pieces and the code set. Well, what is the code set criteria? And start building a test plan. And it's all based off of, 60% of that time is spent looking at service information to decide what is my first test or where do I need to go So what data do I need to look at to confirm why the code is setting, or whatever direction I have to go?
And, kind of following that same bit of logic a little bit, part of it too is visual observation, right? I don't pretend to know the weather in Oklahoma, but I know living in New England, we get a lot of bad wires, crunchy wires, rodent eaten wires, and as important as it is to run the system scan, it's also equally important to give the car a good look, right?
Oh yeah, that's a big part of the. It's funny because I got a series of slides in that class that talks about the importance of a visual inspection, and there's tons of pictures where I've diagnosed thousands of cars with just taking a good look. And the thing is, again, it's always, for me, I always equate it back to that flat rate mentality that I worked for years. That isn't conducive to inspecting a vehicle for the purpose of determining where a fault is or what could be a potential problem. It was always taught to me, like when you do an inspection, hit these 36 points, right, or whatever. And as I started getting into a diagnostic mindset, I really started looking at where has somebody else been, what looks out of place, what's been touched, so you start finding things like harnesses that aren't clipped back, and then they start rubbing on cylinder heads and causing the problem. And you find it's repeat issues. It's almost always human-induced or nature-induced, like you said, mice or whatever. So the smells under the hood. Does it smell like an animal's been under here? Is there pieces of the insulation that are wadded up in places? And you start looking at the common things you've seen. You start looking in air boxes for nests. You look in, little crevices and holes if there's ever been evidence. I mean, it's all the smells, the looks, the everything.
Yeah, I find that too, that it really is, you need to use everything that's available to you, including all of your senses. Like you said, smell, look at things. I wouldn't recommend tasting everything, but yeah.
No. Put your hands on it, though.
Yeah, exactly. I probably watch too much YouTube when I decide I'm going to watch TV, and I was watching Eric at South Main Auto, and he brings up your name frequently as a resource.
Yeah, we talk probably daily almost. I mean, if we look through our text message threads, it's not work stuff. He sends me a picture of a deer his oldest just got this season, and I sent him pictures of some ribs that I made the other day on the smoker, and we just talk. He's one of the only people I talk to daily. We don't get to see each other very often. He's afraid of airplanes, so we just talk a lot. And yeah, he calls me, bounces stuff off me, and same with him. I call him every once in a while, bounce stuff off of him. It's another resource, right? It's that networking within the industry of people we're close with, and I've built that network over going to these training events and being active on these online resources, all the way back to the IATN days to today with Diagnostic Network, all the Facebook groups that are available. Yeah, I mean, you got to use your network. But yeah, I talk to Eric quite often.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that. I remember I was asked to go talk to a group of high school tech kids, and one of the things I said to them, and I'm sort of dating myself a lot here, but I said, build a Rolodex of the people in your class, because you're going to find out over the years that they can help you and you can help them, and that's a relationship you never want to lose.
Yeah, when we run our classes at our shop, because we do in-person classes, that we do a 2-day hands-on over a weekend, probably about 8 times a year. We have a whole calendar of what events, and it's always the stuff that we do. So it's like module programming. We just did one last weekend before last, and it was the 17th and 18th, and it was an EEPROM and cloning class. This is pulling modules open to repair them and clone the data, because some manufacturers make the modules be a one-time use, and it's for they say it's in the guise of security. We think it's in the guise of selling parts, but then, because of what happened in 2018 and 19, there was a huge influx of unavailability of parts because of all the lack of people working. So there's a chip shortage and all those things. And so we had to find ways to make used modules work in those cars. And so we had a class of that. And every time we run a 2-day class like that, we take all of the students that came and we cap it at 20. So it's a group of 20 almost each time. And then we put them in a private group. We have a private Facebook Messenger group for each class. So like our module programming one has like 400 people in it. And these are all people that took the same 2-day hands-on course and then went off to their own respective parts of the world. We get people from Puerto Rico, Canada, from Haiti, from Australia. We get people from all over the world that come to these classes. And so now you've got this network of people that are doing that regularly, that have invested. We all meet that minimum standard now. They've all invested to come spend 2 days to learn this craft, and they've all got this base level of knowledge. So no one's asking a question that is, I hate to say there's bad questions, but no one's asking that question that is foundational, right? They're all out there. They've got this huge, big brain power of all these people that have a base level of knowledge and have gone and really extended it by doing this work every day. And it creates a network of people that is just amazingly smart. They go off to be fantastic technicians in these areas. So it's super powerful having those groups available.
Do you find, you mentioned, people from other countries, do you find that in some countries outside of the United States, they're more resourceful?
Oh, yeah, because they don't have access to things like we have.
Right.
I was talking to, and I hate to name drop hardcore, I was talking to Sherwood Cook from Royalty Auto the other day, another person I talk to pretty regularly on the phone. About once every
I was actually a little
weeks,
disappointed. I was driving from Massachusetts to Florida, and I stopped in the town that his shop is in, and I'm like, I want to go over and meet him, and just, the next day I left Georgia at 5 a.m. and didn't do that, but he runs a very interesting YouTube channel, and just a great guy to watch.
Oh yeah, and Sherwood's great to talk to. And I was talking to him the other day about quite a few different things, and that's one of those situations where he's another person to kind of bounce things off of. But I actually almost forgot where we were going with that conversation. I apologize. But,
fixing things that people don't, outside of the United States, where maybe they're a bit more resourceful.
Oh, yeah. So Sherwood and I were talking about that, and he recently started talking to some people from other countries too, and we realized together while communicating that he said he was better off before the right to repair stuff because everything was cheaper. We had Honda, Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis wasn't a thing back then, but right. Honda, Hyundai, and Kia were all free service information, and Honda was free to do module programming. Right. And then because of the right to repair legislation, they were legislated into making this resource more widely available, publicizing it, and then having to support this huge network of people that hadn't got training on it yet, and their prices all shot up literally within a year. All the service information, all the programming software, all of it was shot up. Now, it did solve some problems with some Euro manufacturers that were just telling us to go, for lack of a better term, go pound sand.
Yep.
No, we're not going to give it to you. So that was nice. But those cars that we dealt with every day, the prices of all of that software and stuff shot up quite a bit. And Sherwood reminded me of that, and that was kind of, I agree, yeah. But realistically, because we had that access to that legislation, that we kind of got lazy as an industry, right? It's handed to us. We log onto a website, pay $19 to GM, get access to factory service information, the same as a dealership technician has, for 3 days for $19.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right there for us. These other countries, they don't have that access. So, necessity is the mother of all invention. And when you're sitting there in a country that doesn't have any access to any of this information, any programming, there are people there that are resourceful that are going to manufacture a way. They're going to build these tools. They're going to build softwares. They're going to find a way around. So you can find a plethora of YouTube videos of 3 guys in Africa that get a car running that was left abandoned on the side of the road because it broke down, and they'll get it fixed with 2 rocks, some twigs, and some mud.
Yeah.
And with no service information, no wiring diagrams, and drive it down the road.
Yeah. No, I'm continue to be amazed by that. I remember years ago I was watching a program about cars in Cuba, and the big concern was fluids. They didn't have oil. They didn't have transmission fluid. They didn't have brake fluid. They were using shampoo for brake fluid, which is something, I guess, if I was by the side of the road, I'd never think, oh, I can't get brake fluid, but I can try shampoo, and that could get me to where I need to go. I mean, it was kind of amazing how they put parts and pieces together to make stuff work. Before I let you go, a couple other quick questions. Things like IATN, the International Automotive Technicians Network, and similar databases of fixes like that. Is that cheating, or is that just another tool?
Oh, no. It's another resource.
Right.
I mean, I completely believe it to be a terrible idea to read a code and go onto one of those resource fixes like Identifix or ITN and go, hey, 2019 Chevy truck, this code, and it goes, oh, well, 90% of them are fixed with this part, and you go throw that part on there. That's a problem. Don't do that. Definitely go look, if you're not familiar with the platform, go look at that code, go look at the code set criteria, and as part of your research, use one of those resources and go, wow, this ABS module is extremely high failure rate. Maybe go look at that data next and then prove it out with your normal diagnostic process that is the fault. I don't think it's cheating, but it's bad juju to just throw the part at it, right?
You don't learn anything. You don't learn anything that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you determine that part that does fail often has failed, go look at the data, snapshot all the data before and after, code sets, voltages, everything, change the part after you've confirmed that's the part, and then go back and look at the same data and come up with a plan to be able to test that same problem faster next time. And that's how I've built that diagnostic business, and that process is based upon that, learning what all this stuff means and how quickly can we diagnose this problem to get everyone back on the road and taken care of.
Right. And do you? This is like asking if you have a favorite kid. Do you have a favorite scan tool?
Oh, yeah. So for OEM scan tools, my favorite tool to use, I'm going to go both. My favorite tool to use is, unfortunately, Stellantis, Chrysler, Fiat, whatever you want to call them this week. Stellantis is, Peugeot Citroën owns them now, so it's the YTech scan tool. It's by far the nicest user interface, and it's wireless, and it's a website. So you plug in a dongle, pull out your cell phone. You got the factory scan tool in your hands. For aftermarket scan tool, my current favorite is for traditional aftermarket scan tools, like the Autel Ultra S2. Mm-hmm. I got it recently. The AI stuff built in the S2 is awesome. And then when we go specialty aftermarket, I've got to say it's a tie between like the iScan and the Drive Pro Plus 2. Those are two different worlds of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick one favorite. It is. But I got like sectors of it. I got a favorite OEM, a favorite traditional aftermarket. Then we get to that specialty aftermarket stuff in the Euro world. Those two tools are awesome, but they're so different. One's really a tool, one's a platform.
Right. The tools, and like you said, if you can have a favorite tool, but when you're putting it all together and trying to make it all work, I think it's important to get comfortable. Whether you're using an Autel, Snap-on, Icon T10, X tool, topped on, you need to just be able to use it. You need to get comfortable using it, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you've got to get training on it. You got to understand what all the buttonology is, understand the difference between programming, coding, initializing, all those things. Learn what the limitation is so you know what you're capable of and what you need to get something else for.
Yeah. You mentioned a scan tool with built-in AI, and one of my favorite videos that Sherwood did was where he used AI to diagnose a no-start issue on a Honda, and it was pretty good.
Yeah. We're using AI every day, all across the board. We use AI note takers. I've got a Plod that I wear often. I'm not wearing it now, but normally during some kind of conversation where I want to go back and recant what was said or understand what was said or bring it back up and go, hey, hold on, I think I misheard what was said. I can go back and listen to that. It's awesome. It summarizes everything. We're using tools for our technicians to talk into that summarize their diagnostic notes. We've built software because AI has made that I spent some time learning how to code for years and years and years ago and have built little pieces here and there. But ever since AI, it's jump-started our capabilities. We've got internal software for looking at our tickets and building almost a fixed database. We can search this car, this code, and if we've ever seen it before, we're going to bring up our notes. And it's pretty awesome. There's AI is a tool that should be leveraged.
Yeah, I agree, and it's kind of funny. Years and years ago, I was a certified auto damage appraiser. I thought it'd be a nice little sideline business to get into. I decided after a while I didn't. But someone sent me a picture of a crashed car couple weeks ago, and I looked at it and I kind of, they wanted to know what it would cost to fix it. And I'm like, a little hard from pictures, but they supplied a bunch of pictures, and I kind of went back to my old resources and took a guess at it. But I also used one of Gronk or Chat or one of those, put the year, make, model, provided all the pictures. I want to say we were within a couple $100 of each other.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was pretty amazing that a database could come up with that based on pictures. I was just first off fascinated it even worked, but also amazed at how well it worked.
Yeah, and the collision industry is using that today. All the ADAS tools that are out there, ADAS Think and Rev, and all of them are using tools to scrub pictures and then to pull up vehicle build data and then areas of damage and then what associated repairs are required around that type of damage.
Yep.
It's, AI is going to make more millionaires, and I'm quoting Gary Vee here. I didn't come up with this on my own, but AI will make more millionaires in the next 5 years than what the internet did in the last 30.
Yeah, no, pretty amazing. Keith, if people want to, first off, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day and joining us, being as busy as you are. If people want to find out more information about you, your business, your training, how to get in touch with your training, what's the best way to do that?
Our website, L1training.com, and that's the letter L, the number 1, the word training.com. There's an events tab with all the events we hold at our shop. There's a link to our YouTube stuff there. There's a ton of resources. It's a subscription-based model, so to log in and see all the videos, but there's about 210 hours of video on there now, and we add a little bit extra every week. So every Monday evening, for the most part, I do 1 hour of training live. So if you're a member, you can log in and watch the training. It's $25 a month. It's one of those things. It's built out to the point where if you're a shop or even a technician, it's extremely affordable. Skip Starbucks for 3 days in a row, and you've paid for the subscription.
I was going to say beer and pizza, but either way.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Keith, again, thank you for taking some time out of your Sunday, joining us, helping educate us, talking to my audience and letting them know about some of the challenges that you face in the automotive industry and also some of the tools that help make it maybe a little bit easier for both repair shop owners and the consumers who own those cars.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Keith. All right, take care. Bye-bye. It's Keith Perkins, L1 Diagnostics, Level 1 Diagnostics. Check out his website. Check out everything he has to offer. I've seen him come up a few times on different things. When I hear his name mentioned on other people's YouTube channels, that's kind of how I found him. Obviously a very knowledgeable guy. Check it all out, whether you're a DIYer, whether you're a shop that's listening today or listening later on the internet. Either way, check it all out. Great stuff there. We need to take a break. We're running way behind here. You're listening to the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD. We'll be right back.
Even car geeks and do-it-yourselfers rely on AAA to give them extra peace of mind on the road. AAA offers 24/7 roadside assistance, whether you're in your own vehicle, a friend's car, or even a rental. Combine that with great rates on insurance, hotel, gas, and buying savings, and discounts on 8,700 brands, and you're covered on and off the road. Get a special membership offer today at AAA.com/join. That's AAA.com/join.
Hey there, folks. It's Quinn Kelly reminding you to tune in Sunday night at 5 for the South Shore's first voice in sports talk radio, The Sports Exchange. Unmatched coverage of local high school action as well as a relatable voice on all things Boston Pro Sports. We've got you covered live at 5 every Sunday night. Have a question for our host, missed last week's show, or just want to share a great sports story? You can find us on Twitter at SE on WATD. But remember, mark your calendar, folks, and we'll see you Sunday night at 5 for the Sports Exchange on 95.9 WATD.
Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD. What a smart guy. I feel smarter just listening to him. If you want to join us, our phone number is 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900, or you can text us if we remember how to do the texty thing. Jesse, you still remember how to do the text message thing?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Let's talk to Robert in Tingsboro. Robert?
Good morning, John. It's been a
Come
while.
on, long time no speak.
Yeah. It's taking advantage of the storm that canceled church because they're the same time you are. So unfortunately, I have to listen to the podcast.
Well,
so hopefully your Christmas and New Year's were pleasant.
Where I'm spending part of my life in Florida these days.
Yeah,
we had my nephew, his wife, and his 3 kids coming to visit, and we spent and we wanted to make them feel a little like New England, so we had, and it sounds kind of like a lot, but it really wasn't. We had lobster rolls on the beach on Christmas Day.
Sounds good.
And there's a local shop here they were running us, big surprise for people who know me. They were running a sale on lobster rolls, so they were actually pretty inexpensive. But and there were New England lobster rolls with New England style hot dog rolls, so it was great.
Yeah, that's always good. I have a question as far as luxury cars. Lexuses and BMWs. These matte and flat finishes that they pay a lot extra for. Do you think that's a fad? And if so, or if it isn't, what's the value of those cars? And isn't it limited to the amount of customers that might want one?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything like that. It's going to appeal to certain amounts of people. I remember the first time I saw a Mercedes with the flat finish. I thought something was wrong with it. I'm like, why would you want this?
Primer.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. It was a flat gray, and I was like, I just don't get it. But it's one of those things that, like all things, I think it's somewhat cyclical. It's like, oh, let's try this. It'll be popular with the, percentage of people, and then all of a sudden the novelty will wear off, and people want shiny paint again. I mean, the same thing right now. Some of the odd colors of cars, some of the weird, shiny finishes, but like weird green, weird
orange.
gray. And I've had people look at, I was driving a Toyota over the summertime, and it was in that sort of weird battleship gray color. And 2 different women walked by the house and said, "Oh, I love the color of that car." And I'm like, Really? Really?
Yeah, that's what
but you look back, back in the 80s, look at some of the, fancy cars of the 80s, BMW 850, Ferrari Testarossa. Those cars now look like, 80s hairstyles. They just, it's like, what were we thinking? Why did we think that was a good-looking car? And I think it's going to be, my guess is going to be the same thing with these paint finishes on some of these cars that in a few years people say, I wonder why that was popular. But I could be completely wrong,
Yeah, I mean, when you're paying $1,500 to make your car look worse by some people's expectations. I mean, I grew up in the 50s and 60s. We had cars that were prime because the guys couldn't afford a paint job.
Right.
So spray can primer,
Oh yeah, and primer back then was cheap. You could prime a car pretty inexpensively. So yeah. No.
Well,
no.
Good talking to you, John.
I agree with you 100%. I remember the first time one of the first times I had one of those flat color cars. I'm like, I wonder if I could take it home and wax it. Make it shiny. And you do it, and actually, you have to put the same amount of effort into it to keep it clean. You still need to polish it, because if you don't, that flat finish just gets affected by the environment. So it's not like you can look at it and say, oh, it's just, I never have to do anything. No, you have to do a lot. So
I would imagine the pores collect a lot more dirt than glass.
I mean, it's still paint. At the end of the day, it's still paint. So you still have to take care of it. But yeah.
Well, great talking to you again.
All right, Robert.
I'm not sure when the next time will be, but have a great day.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Let's go over to Ken in Topsfield. Ken?
And good morning to you, John.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And just like you spoke to a smart guy earlier, I'm going to speak to a smart guy now and get your opinion on something.
Well, talk to Jesse then. He's a smart guy.
My friend,
I'll see if I can find one.
A 2011 GLK Mercedes, GLK 350, and the power steering, the fluid seems to be down just a little. original fluid. I don't think it's ever been added. We've had the car for 6 years. And $150,000, it's great. So I was going to put in, well, it ain't like the old days. You just grab automatic transmission fluid. It's like everything. I better check. So I went online, and that can be a mistake because, it's like if you go for a health thing, they can say you either have a cold or cancer. Well, it said you have to use certain stuff, and it said CHF 1150 specialized thing. So I went in the owner's manual, and it said MB power steering fluid or approved Dexron 3 ATF. I went, okay. And then I thought, can I mix the two? And if I don't know if you can, so what I should use, and B, is power steering fluid like brake fluid, which you had a great idea about the drumstick, stick a tube in and take out power steering, that stuff. Great idea. I do it now in all my cars. What do I do with power steering fluid? What should I use?
It is kind of funny. It is, it's a certain kind of power steering fluid. Is it really different? Is it really just automatic transmission fluid? There is, the worst part is there's no real, they don't even agree. I mean, if I went to look up, power steering, gear oils, there's like even Mercedes has two different listings on it, which makes it more difficult.
And I saw this CHF, there's an 11S and there's a S616, and I mean, it's very expensive. It's like $40 for, I don't know, a quart maybe.
Yeah, I think. I mean, and they're, they have something. It's. I got to think back to what it was. It's like Pentacin or something like that. It's a hydraulic oil that they use in convertible top motors, power steering, all that kind of stuff. That's probably, I would probably, is there an equivalent to that? I don't know.
You'd keep it if you didn't know, you'd go to either the Mercedes dealer and tell them what you got and tell them to give you what you should, because I don't want to mix the wrong thing because they may not mix.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to.
Yeah. And all I remember about if that's how it's even pronounced, Pentacin, all I remember because I was looking at it in, it's a mineral oil based stuff, and all I remember it was green. Yep. It was kind of a green color. And I would probably now that I took a guess at trying to spell it. At 1 quart metal container, it's odd it comes in a metal container, at O'Reilly's is $45.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to screw things up.
No, and I hate to say it, but I would probably bite the bullet and spend the $45 to top it off.
Would you top it off, or would you suck some out?
I would. Well, if I spent $45 on 1 liter of this stuff, I'd probably suck some out and put some fresh stuff in there because I had it. Because chances are you're probably never going to use it again, so you might as well use what you got.
That's right. Well, and should that be changed periodically, just like brake fluid?
Brake fluid attracts moisture. Moisture makes rust. Rust is what is the enemy of the ABS brake system. Hydraulic fluid, like this mineral oil hydraulic fluid, doesn't attract moisture the same way. It doesn't cause the same issues that brake fluid does. Should you change it periodically? I've drained out power steering fluid that looked like mud and replaced it with fresh fluid, and the car actually went down the road better, felt better. If the fluid looks reasonably good, I don't think I'd worry too much about it. But if you want to suck out a few ounces of it and put in a few new ounces to top it off, I don't see any problem with doing that.
Well, for $40, I might as well get something bang for my buck.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, you're the best. I certainly appreciate that, and I hope you don't have to shovel in Florida.
Not so far. Although I know this sounds not bad, but the next week or 10 days coming, I don't think it's going to get out of the 60s, and it might actually get down to the high 30s. So it's going to be a little chilly, and the Florida people here will have their Uggs on and their puffy winter jackets on. So,
okay, my friend.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks.
Take
so
care,
very
Kenny.
much.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's talk to Mike in Bridgewater. Michael.
Morning, John.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. Well, I don't know if you feel this might be a good day for you, even maybe a lucky day. First of all, Patriots are playing for a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
That's good.
Day, yeah, and second of all, you're in Florida, and the gentleman said, I hope you don't have to shovel. Yeah, well, we've got up to 2 feet of snow. So,
yeah.
Question is, windshield wiper blades, up or down?
I'm a down guy. I'm not an up guy. And I will say, here's why, and maybe it's not a good answer, but I have never. I read a lot of owner's manuals. When we were talking to Keith Perkins earlier from L1 Diagnostics, we were talking about All Data and Michelin Motors and all that stuff. And then sometimes I actually go to the owner's manual, and somebody will say to me, "Well, the dealer says I need to do this, this, and this, or how often?" And I look and I go, "Well, at page 621 of the owner's manual, it says you should do this." So I read a lot of owner's manuals. I've never read an actual book, but I read a lot of owner's manuals, and I've never seen an owner's manual say, in the event of a winter storm, put the windshield wipers in the up position. Never seen that anywhere. And that's sometimes in some cars, it's called the service position, where if you're going to change a wiper blade, you start the wipers, put them part way up, flip them up like that. But I've never seen a manufacturer say, in the event of a winter storm, put the wipers up like that. So because of that, I say no. The other part of it is, and people say, well, the windshield wipers are going to freeze to the windshield. Yeah, okay, they probably will. But chances are you're also going to go out there and, start the car up and put it on defrost and thaw the window out anyway. The only good thing, probably not the only good thing, the only good thing, though, about putting the windshield wipers up is it reminds you to shut them off. Too often I run into issues where people pull in a snowy day, just shut the car off and walk away, and then they get out the next day, they go to start the car, and the wipers are trying to move a foot of snow off the windshield. And if you're lucky, it moves the snow. If you're unlucky, it pops a fuse. If you're really unlucky, it burns out a wiper motor. So the one good thing about leaving the wipers in the up position, to do that, you have to remember to shut the wipers off. So because of that, that's an advantage. AAA was in the auto glass business for a bunch of years. On some really windy days where we had kind of ice storms, we ended up replacing some windshields for people because they had the wipers up. The wind caught the ice-filled wiper, smacked it on the glass, and ended up breaking the windshield. So that's not good. And the other thing is, if you routinely put your wipers up and down, you stretch that spring that holds tension, that holds the wiper to the glass.
That's a point. That was kind of my next question. Does it affect the spring at all? So,
yeah. Because the spring's really meant to hold the wiper on the glass. It's not meant to pull all the way up and then stretch all the way back. It's meant to do that, once a year when you go to change the wiper blades. But that's really all. So, because of that, all those reasons. But even one of my coworkers, and for some reason, a couple of years ago, I did an interview about wipers up, wipers down. And in the last week or so, a bunch of outlets have reused that. And I saw one in Tennessee and another one in Ohio that says, John Paul, the AAA car doctor, says, keep your wipers down for all these reasons. But even myself and the PR guy for our New York office, Robert Sinclair. We don't agree. He's a Mr. Wipers Up guy. But my argument goes back to one day I'm going to open up a car owner's manual and it's going to say, if it's going to snow, put your wipers up, put them in the wiper service position. But I haven't seen that happen yet. So wipers down.
Wipers down. Okay, so according to the John Paul owner's manual, wipers down on page 653. All right, I got it.
And make sure you shut the wipers off.
Shut them off first. Shut off first. Big red letters and all that, and then.
Yep. All right.
All right, John. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Why don't we take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk to John in Melrose. My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. You're listening on 95.9 WATD. We'll be right back.
Even car geeks and do-it-yourselfers rely on AAA to give them extra peace of mind on the road. AAA offers 24/7 roadside assistance, whether you're in your own vehicle, a friend's car, or even a rental. Combine that with great rates on insurance, hotel, gas, and dining savings, and discounts on 8,700 brands, and you're covered on and off the road. Get a special membership offer today at AAA.com/join. That's AAA.com/join.
Your New England Patriots are in the AFC Championship game Sunday in Denver against the Broncos. Listen for a special edition of the Bethany Builders podcast Sunday afternoon at 12:15 as your hosts Sophia Bethany, Chris Bethany, Steve Burton, and Christian Fourier preview the game. And WBZ TV sports director Steve Burton will be broadcasting live from Denver. The Bethany Builders podcast crew, Sunday 12:15 to 1 on 95.9 WATD.
Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program. We got about 5 minutes left, but let's talk to John in Melrose. John, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. John Paul. This is another John Paul calling from Melrose. My question is, the new license plates for Massachusetts, the blue ones, have you seen them?
Oh, yeah, the ones that look like they belong on a car from Tennessee.
Yeah, right. My question is, I want to buy the frame that goes around the license plate, but I want a shield on the front of it. Now, they have two different shields. One you can see through, and the one that's kind of smoked a bit.
Yep.
Does it make a difference according to the police or the registry, or when you get a sticker or whatever, if that one that's smoked makes a difference? Do they want that removed or what? Do you know?
The law, they just changed the law, and the law used to be you couldn't have anything on the license plate that covered up any of the numbers, the state name, the sticker, or any of that kind of stuff. Then they changed it, and then they said, well, you can use a clear covering. This is what I remember. I was at a sticker inspection program, and they said you could use a clear covering, or they said you could use a tinted one, but the one thing you can't use is any kind of covering that possibly, the illegal kind, the kind that if the camera looks at it on a 45-degree angle, it turns the 3s into 8s or something like that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't personally, I wouldn't probably go with anything but a clear cover, only because you're not going to, I don't think you're going to offend anybody that way. But still, it's really about the reflectivity. It's, I think the clear cover does that, but it's, all the law says is, the plate's got to be clearly visible and readable from 60 feet away. And, if the cover's tinted enough that it sort of, you can't read the plate from, 60, 90, 100 feet, whatever it is away, you potentially could get pulled over. So I would, just to keep,
to be safe.
Yeah. So I would, if I was going to do anything because I wanted to preserve the finish on the plate, I would just do a clear cover.
I see. Okay, that's what I might do. My other question is, the sticker on the rear plate that you put on the top front. Now, where there's a cover on the covering the plate now, so from year to year you got to change that number that's on the plate. Do they actually want that on your plate, or could that be on that cover?
Personally, I would take the cover off every 2 years and stick a new sticker on it.
All right, so
yeah.
Okay.
Only because first off, I think it's going to look weird if you do it on the outside. I don't know. I would take it off and just do that. I would, every 2 years is a good excuse to take the license plate off and clean under it where it collects all the dirt and garbage anyway.
True.
So
that's correct. Right.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
Okay.
My question. Have a good day.
You as well. Stay dry.
All right now.
All right
now.
Let's see. While we were talking, I looked it up and it said, while not explicitly banned, if the cover is tinted enough to hinder identification, police can pull you over for an obstructed plate. Yeah, these rules, they really lightened up these rules. I remember for a while, they were talking about trailer hitch balls, bicycle racks, anything that blocked the plate was illegal. And I remember talking to Bernie Scipoletti, cop from Burlington, Mass., and he said to me, I said, what do you do when you see this? And he goes, they're not criminals. They're just families going on vacation, so good enough. Well, that music means it's time for us to go. Jesse wrote this song in like 13 seconds.
Very talented.
I think I want more upbeat.
Okay.
All right. Next time. There we go. All right. You're listening to the Car Doctor program at 95.9 WATD. Until next week, make sure you wear your seatbelt, drive safely, be good to your car, and if you do see an emergency vehicle by the side of the road, slow down or move over. It saves lives. Talk to you all next week. Bye-bye.